Mirra Andreeva sets yet another record, ladies and gentlemen. Trivia time. This video is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act, guys. That's right. Name the last player on tour under the age of 18 years old to make at least 4 semifinals on the main tour. That's right, guys. Trivia time. Trivia time. I'll give you a hint. I think she's the future of tennis, ladies and gentlemen. The future of Russian tennis. Mirra Andreeva taking on the best shot maker in the world, hands down. Everybody loves Ons. But listen, this is what concerns me with Ons. I think Ons is the best shot maker in the world without a doubt. But I think we're reaching a phase where the injuries the last few years are starting to catch up with Ons. And when we're seeing these younger players like Mirra come up and able to overpower Ons in a lot of these exchanges, that concerns me. And I think the tour is going through a phase where these younger players, and Coco's in that mix too. Coco's only 20. And you know what Mirra said about Coco? Mirra said Coco's the fastest player I've ever played against. She's too fast for me. You guys remember those videos I used to do? Coco's really fast, guys. And I think the tour is finally realizing what I've been saying for so long. She's the fastest player on tour. She's the best defender on tour. And for Mirra to say that, being so young and strong, and what amazes me about Mirra, she continues to set these records, is how big and powerful she is at only 17 years old. The world's ranked 16. She's going to get better and better. And I told you guys, I do think Mirra will win the French Open title one day. And in this matchup against Ons, guys, she would win 72% of her first serves while winning about 48% of Ons' second serves for most of the match, 40% of Ons' first serves for most of the match, 4 big aces to seal the deal. And she was consistent with breakpoint opportunities, guys. That's right, guys. She kept the pressure on Ons all match long. And I do think I think these matches against the younger players, they're great for getting her in her best form. It's going to be necessary heading into the Australian Open. We're getting ready for the Adelaide International too. But I do think we're reaching a stage in the tour where the older players, the players in their upper 20s, early 30s, they're starting to slow down. And the Greek goddess is in that category as well. Isla Tomljanovic, these Sloane Stephens, they're starting to slow down. Of that older player, that older, I say between 28 and 31, Simona Halep, she's approaching 33, 34. I think Simona Halep is going to have serious issues as well. But because she's so big time, I'll include her. I think Danielle Collins might be the exception. Right? Because of her power. She has the power that a lot of these players don't really have, like Sloane Stephens, who's really trying to build and construct a point with her amazing shot-making ability. The same with Ons, Danielle Collins still has the power where she can take control of these rallies and beat opponents. So I think that she's probably the exception. I think I'm going to add Pegula in that mix as well, because Pegula does have the power, but she has the in-match adjustments, right? She problem solves, I think, a lot better than any of the older ladies on tour. Sakkari marked her game around having her serve be her most powerful weapon. And I think over the years, as her serve started to decline, as her story, because we remember Sakkari, the Greek goddess, used to be jacked up, just very strong and powerful. As the tour caught up with her and these younger players, including Mirra, they're just so strong and physical. And I think Serena Williams kind of set the tone for that, because Serena was just so strong and physical and overpowering opponents from her natural God-given ability, that players like Angelique Kerber basically revolved their whole training regimen around defeating Serena Williams. And that entailed to getting bulkier, stronger, and bigger and more physical. And sometimes if you walk the grounds and you see these guys, like you see, the players like Novak and Carlos Alcaraz, Fritz, and these are average looking guys. They're not bursting out with huge muscles, but you see some of these players, especially these younger players, they're pretty ripped. On the women's side of things, they're pretty ripped. They're pretty strong, the Sabalenkas of the world. And I think Serena set the tone for that because players had to find a way to offset her natural God-given ability. She was just too athletic and too strong naturally, and players started to bulk up, and that's where the game is at now, where we're seeing these younger players like Mirra Andreeva. Mirra's big. She's powerful. She's physical, and she can take control of these rallies. And you factor in her just being so young, full of so much energy, that raw talent, and she's left-handed. She's going to be a problem. She's by far the future of Russian tennis. And in a couple years, I don't see anyone in this current Russian lineup. Maybe Diana, but I don't see anyone in this current, the Kunamatovas, the Ludmilas of the world, the Anna Blinkovas of the world. They're going to be in trouble once Mirra, and she's coached by Martinez, who is Garbiñe Muguruza's former coach. And by the way, Garbiñe is living her best life. That is what retirement should be like. She is having so much fun. Every time I turn around, she's baking. That is retirement to me. She is so thrilled. I think she did an amazing job directing the WTA finals, this past November. Garbiñe Muguruza is amazing. And by the way, it's a flashback. Remember that time Camilla Giorgi, spit on her hands and tried... what is going on with that? Or Garbiñe Muguruza, what was that with the handshake, the spit and the handshake? That was pretty tasteless. But nonetheless, guys, Mirra Andreeva, she gets the victory. I am a little concerned with Ons because I just feel the tour. We're kind of hitting that point where the older players. I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete and win titles. These younger players like Mirra are just getting better and better. And I think Coco's in that mix as well. I think we're going to see players like Mirra and Coco really start to dominate the tour. How does she do it, guys? This is the first set. But again, if you take a look at the numbers here, 92% of her first serves won, 50% for Ons. Mirra's she's just overpowered her for most of the match. Tennis in a minute. We'll be back, guys.